Well, Friday afternoon we just finished up the mast project, so we finished polishing up both sides. Looks a lot better, doesn't feel like sandpaper. It's not, of course, going to look new, 40-year-old mast, but it sure is a lot better. It's not all chalky. Went ahead and pulled the wire harness, put in the steaming light, which was the original. We reused that one. Of course, they're about impossible to find, and it works just great, and it looks really good. And then we added an anchor light because this one never had an anchor light on it. And we also, since the harness came with the deck lights, we went ahead and have the wires hanging out by the steaming light if we want to add deck lights later, but we haven't done that yet. So enjoy the video, just another project complete. So here's your shot of it waxed, one side half polished, other side not. So I'm sure you can see the difference. So now one side's smooth, the other side's still like sandpaper and gritty, so we'll get the other side next. Alright, so we wet sanded it, and now we're getting ready to buff it. So this has been wet sanded. This right here has been buffed out 3 times with rubbing compound, so it's looking pretty good. It's not going to be 100% new, but it's sure going to look a lot better. It's going to be at least 90%, 85% better. At least it doesn't feel like sandpaper no more. And here's a shot of the original mast wire. So you can see it's this rinky-dinky stuff right here. So we're going to put in some new correct wire harness, which will make a big difference. So I just thought I'd give you a shot of the wire harness. Here's the wire harness from Catalina Direct, and they send you the wire already spliced together here and then separate it. So you end up with a steaming light, you end up with a deck light, and you end up with a mast light. So this is going to control 3 different lights on the mast. So I'm going to have to order a steaming light deck light combo that goes halfway up the mast. But you can see the difference in this wire. This is all pre-tinned. This is marine wire. This is the real thing. And of course, and there's the plug for it. I've already got the other one in the boat itself. So we'll work on this maybe Friday or Monday. Got to finish doing the other half of the mast. But you can see this is a substantial upgrade compared to the other wire that was in here. And there is the sticker. Alright, so here we go. We're going to figure this mast light out, the steaming light. So here's the original steaming light. I looked online. I can't find any that match this, and so I love this original one. So we're going to reuse this original one. And so I can't use that hole, so I'm going to try to put a 1/2-inch hole here, pull my new wire up to here, use some of let's save some of this pigtail on this and hook them together and then stuff them back in there, and then the other wire will run straight up. And the extra wire that is for the deck lights, I'll leave it hanging out. That way if we want to add deck lights to the spars, we can do that later. So let's see what's going to happen. So 1 step bit, 1 drill equals 1 hole. And so I very carefully drilled that new hole next to the old hole that was there. That way I can get all these wires over here. Now I'll be able to hopefully pull my new wire up and into this hole, and it will still be behind the light. And so we'll work our wire up now. Bad half will be the second half because there's no wires in the mast because there was never an anchor light. So I may have to try to suck a string down. You can use a ping pong ball or sometimes cotton and a vac on a real light string, fishing line, and suck it with a shop vac down to this end. So that's going to be our only hope for that. I don't have a fishing pole that reach that long. I might be able to find me a stick or something, so we'll see. But we'll get the first half done and go from there. Okay, so here's the delicate shot. We got the wire and the fishing line tied together. We get 1 shot to pull it up to the middle of the mast. So let's see what happens. All right, here we go. We got it connected together. We got our pole wire and the mast light and everything's hooked together. So let's see what happens. Come down here and then we're going to start pulling. And we're going to see what happens here.
Okay, here we come.
And there we are.
Okay.
We got it. We're done. So there's our hole, and there's going to be our grommet, and then we're going to run our wire right up through that. So don't have a tripod. I'll let you see it in a minute. And voila, there it is. All I got to do is pull the last little bit, and then there's our pigtail. Goes to the plug. So there's our pigtail in, and there's the wire going inside. So hopefully that should be enough. That should plug in right over here. I wish they would make this black a little longer, because I'm going to probably need all of this to get to where the plug's at. But we'll see. We'll do that once it's up on the boat. But that's step number one. She's in there. And down here we've got our two wires. Let's come through. Now I'm going to do a smaller hole here, which is for this light here, and it'll come up. This is just an access hole, so we won't worry about that. So our next hole will be here to come out for the steaming light, and then the other wire will continue straight on up. All right, so here we go. We got our steaming and deck lights are in with the grommet, so they give us plenty of extra. And so this is going to be our anchor light, so that will get fed back into the hole, and we will continue that up to the top of the mast, and we will do that tomorrow. And I've decided to keep the old steaming light. So you're probably asking, why would I keep the old steaming light? Well, take a look at it. That is original. Cannot find one anywhere. And that is super duper heavy duty chrome. It is not no plastic. And the fixture still works and not corroded, so we're going to clean it up and we're going to use that. There's nothing like an original part to really make the difference. Alright, so here's our steaming light, deck light harness pulled through. And then we got our anchor light is pulled through. And it's going to probably go in this hole right here that we made. And do some soldering and fasten it so this cable don't pull out. Getting closer. So there we got it soldered. Here's it soldered, and so now we're going to heat shrink the first wire. So there's our first one soldered and heat shrink together. We'll go ahead and do that on the hot wire. I'm doing that way. That will I'll have the green and white, green and red left over. These will be for the deck light later if somebody wants to use them. But right now I'm not going to hook up a deck light, but we got them there if we need them. So one done, one to go. So there we go, with it all soldered up and ready to go. All right, there we go. There's the light turned on. That's the original light from 1980. So we're glad to have that on there. And then here's our extra wire, which will be for the deck light if we want to add the deck light later. So we got that, so it's coming out the little slot right there. So we're good. So there she is. One steaming light. Original, 1980. Not too many people will have one of these. Hard to find. Alright, so here's our anchor light. It's in there, wired up, soldered, taped up, heat shrink. And so let's see if it turns on when we give it some juice. And we'll give it a little juice, and there you go. So now we got that one, and we got our steaming light. So I would call that a job successfully done.